comes Minnesota within 5. And Taylor Jenkins wants a timeout. Can Minnesota follow up their stunning victory here in Saturday's Game 1?
I thought we did a good job in the first quarter, of course. And our offense just dried up. Our shot selection in the second quarter basically started the avalanche of them getting out. And they beat us up on the glass a little bit in the second quarter, too. And that's really where the game was won.
Brooks. Jaren Jackson with a vicious putback. Step back. Splash.
But it's been a beautiful second quarter here for Memphis, doing to Minnesota essentially what Minnesota did to them in Game 1 in that first quarter.
The number 2 seed in the West, up 11 at halftime.
You know, the team they just took off from that first quarter. It was a competitive first quarter. We had a great second quarter, and I just kind of went with my gut and said, hey, let's try to continue to ride that momentum.
Memphis Grizzlies trying to make their statement early second half. Look at Ja. Putting one down from deep. Wow. Towns turned back by Jackson. What a defensive recovery. Jackson from deep. Got it.
It's been a 10-2 start to the third quarter for the Memphis Grizzlies. Great defense and even better offense for the Grizz.
When we dial in, when we follow the game plan, it's amazingly important. That definitely helped for sure. Came back in through the second punch, through the third. Good.
It's a 25-9 Memphis run to begin this third quarter.
Minnesota obviously been punching them out here this third quarter. Playoff games happens where teams get on a run and play good ball, and you knew Memphis was going to respond. But wow.
Big time for us, coming in, bringing, that same energy, we started with, and allowing us to, jump out to, a comfortable lead and, just finish the job.
The Memphis Grizzlies with a convincing Game 2 win as this series heads to Minneapolis, all tied at a game apiece.
We 1-1 now, so I'm not worried. I hope my teammates aren't worried. I mean, we're going back to Minnesota. They got to come to our house and play us twice at the crib.
We got that same mindset coming into the next, same fire, same energy. There was a lot of people that picked us to, go to the Western Conference Finals. A lot of people that said we were going to make the finals. After we lost Game 1, they switched up. So tell them to stay on that side they was on.
You still about that smoke?
All the smoke. All the smoke.
All the smoke, the first pick from 2016 in this playoff series, 22 points per game, 12 rebounds for the Cat, man. Hey, Coach, that's your peoples, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
No question about it. Stepping in, and that's your peoples as well. Anthony Edwards, 28 points per game.
Where's that kid from?
He was from Georgia.
There you go.
No question about it. Hey, shooting 48%. That's the first pick from the 2020 draft. Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves coming up on TNT at 7:30. Now, just to let you know, of course, the series is tied, but the Grizzlies did not win in Minnesota all season. 0-2 up in Minnesota, and they lost by 43. That was the biggest loss of the season for the Grizzlies, just to set the table to let you know what time it is. But obviously, we saw the quote from Ja Morant, Chris Haynes talking to him after the game. They still want all the smoke. They're the number 2 seed for a reason. What do you expect to see from the Grizzlies as they go on the road for the first time in the playoffs?
What I love about this team is the bench and how tied they are together. When you watch this team play, everybody's up, everybody's cheering for one another. Nobody cares how many points they have. They're about pure winning. And when you go into a hostile environment, that's the kind of tied togetherness that you need to come into it and get a win. This team came out in the second quarter, they punched Minnesota in the mouth, and they kept punching, and Minnesota didn't really recover. Now, playoffs are all about the mentality, how you're going to respond. Minnesota doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. They got a lot of young guys that hasn't really experienced that kind of punching them out before. So I'm curious. Memphis wants to smoke, but they're showing it by their play. They were physical. They came out and beat them up and really just took them out of the game from the second quarter on. I think that kind of still sticks with a team like that that's young and doesn't really know how to win in the playoffs yet.
Coach, you spend so much time in Minnesota. You are very entrenched with what goes on up there, tight with Karl Anthony Towns. He's shown you so much love during the season on this show. He says he needs to get you back in the league. Another conversation. We'll talk about that for another day.
Do me a favor.
Talk to me.
Look at that camera and remind the people. Minnesota beat Memphis by how many in Minnesota?
43 points. It was a beatdown.
So what you're basically saying is Minnesota's not afraid of Memphis. If you look at these teams on paper, they match up well. Memphis got some advantages. Minnesota got some advantage. Steven Adams, who's been a big part of Memphis this year, how many minutes he played game 2? 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You know why? He can't guard Karl-Anthony Towns. So now that adds more pressure to everyone else because now you got to look at JJ, you got to look at others to guard Cat. Now you got to go deeper into your bench. This series right now, a series doesn't start until both teams win a game. Well, now we have a series because now Minnesota has home court. Memphis has got to do, look, man, I ain't never heard nobody win a basketball game running their mouth. At the end of the day, you got to go put your boots on the ground and you got to go play. All this talk about this and that, and both teams are doing a lot of talk because they're both young teams. But at the end of the day, the team that comes in, defends, rebounds, and move the ball and get the most open shots is going to be the team that wins tonight. All this talk, I love it because I've been so sick of watching guys play at the end of the game and they're hugging this love fest after you done lost. No, hug now. Your losing team goes home and watch everyone else plays. This stuff has got serious, quick, fast, and hurt. And I like the series right now.
We all like the series, and we want to get everything updated on what's going on with the series. So with that said, we have to bring in award-winning journalist Chris Haynes joins us right now. That man's sharp. He casket sharp. I see you, Chris Haynes. So, number one, compliments on your attire, but let's get the update on what's going on. It was a beatdown in Memphis just the other day. We heard your interview that you had post-game, the walk-off with Ja Morant. They still want all the smoke. We know that. How is Minnesota going to respond? How are they going to bounce back in Game 3?
They said, Coach told me that, look, we gave Ja Morant too much space. They felt like they wasn't physical enough with him. And I talked to a couple of Timberwolves players this morning, and they talked about the Brooklyn Nets-Boston Celtics series in which they're just banging and beating up on KD, and they felt like that had a positive effect for them later in the course of the game. So that's something they want to try to implement as they're defending Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's getting to the paint at will. They say there's very little resistance. So that's something they want to clean up. And so expect a much more physicality type of an effort from the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight.
Interesting. Now, as we've seen, Ja Morant bites his tongue for no one. Going on the road for the first time with this Memphis team, what is he expecting to get from these Timberwolves when they go on the road?
Well, Coach Mitchell said it earlier. I just heard him talking about a lot of talking. It's definitely a lot of talking. You got personalities on both sides. We asked Ja Morant this morning, what is it going to take to steal a game while this series is here in Minnesota? He said, steal a game? We're trying to steal 2. So that just shows you just the level of, I wouldn't say it cockiness, but just confidence in that their ability to be able to come on the road and try to snatch 2 away from a good Minnesota Timberwolves squad that's really good at home and has a really good atmosphere. So, they're speaking their truth. But if you go on the Minnesota Timberwolves side, they speak the same truth when they're talking about what they're trying to accomplish on the court. So it'll be interesting and compelling to see how this outcome plays out because both teams are talking a lot, and we'll see which team backs it up.
Well, that theme of talking is a common theme, not only between both teams, but between the fathers, whether it be T. Morant and Karl-Anthony Towns Sr. That was an awesome moment, the interview that you had with both fathers. Just share with the audience, what that was like to have those two guys there. And once you put the mic down and went off cam, what was said afterwards that you can say on TV?
Bro, I'll just say this, man. I was sweating inside. I think I had a black shirt on so the perspiration couldn't come out my shirt. I didn't know what was going to be said. I was like, I had my hand like I had a dump button just in case something happens, even though I didn't have no control over it. So I was just very scared and nervous for what was going to come out. But I knew I've seen these guys, in game 1 and a little bit before the game just talking trash. And, that's something I wanted to pursue. I wanted people to see this, this fun-loving, situation where these two fathers who are proud of their sons, they're out there talking trash to each other, but, they're proud of their sons and proud of each other's success. And so I wanted to highlight and showcase that, for them on a national scale. And I'm glad they did. And I think it was just good to see that. And I'm just very, very, very thankful that no cuss words came out of it.
I think we are all thankful to FCC. I think we're all glad they kept it in check. You provided a great moment in television for both of those men. Chris, continue to do your thing. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Yes, indeed. That is Chris Haynes. Well, can't wait to see that game tonight, but also can't wait